Hi everyone, and I'm just going to record a quick video because recently another channel put up something about which types are the most to least manipulative using one of those 16 types categorization tables, and it determined, unsurprisingly, that 5 of the 6 most manipulative types are FI users, and 5 of the 6 least manipulative types, most equitable, I guess, are FE users. And, well, setting aside the oversimplification and use of C.S. Joseph oft-repeated tropes, there are 2 major fallacies here. One of them is that FE, because it is about so-called tribe over self, is by default selfless, which is, and therefore not manipulative, which would be blatantly incorrect, because if one sees things in the context of the tribe, one would then want to manipulate things in order to achieve the goals of the tribe. Therefore, causing manipulation, even though one might believe it's for a good cause, I would also caution, and this is more speculative depending on how you believe Jungian models play out, that if someone has got FI backstack, their own personal desires and wants are not necessarily on the table. They may not know what they want, but they may be executing on what they want. And I've seen this sort of thing in action with someone who's got FI critic and put themselves into a situation that greatly benefited themselves because it was for the good of everybody else. And it was sort of like, well, of course, because it benefits everyone, of course I should be doing this thing that would be of my own personal benefit. Anyway, on the flip side, the fallacy with FI is that knowing one's own desires and self-interests always translates into, that self-interest translates into selfishness. There is this idea of enlightened self-interest, that there is the best thing, the best outcome, which is separate from what's in personal interest. And I have run afoul of this many a time, where I've had people in business who've, co-workers and such, who've actually said, just tell me what you want, because the way that I would go about things is to describe the set of circumstances and place everything in front of them as the situation as I saw it, and then was like, okay, what do you think is the best decision here? And they'd be looking back at me saying, why don't you decide? And it would go kind of round in circles, because I just wanted to present the situation as I understood it and hope that applied rationale would carry the day for someone to make the right decision, but understanding they have their own autonomy. Yes, that could be seen as manipulative, because trying to force a decision is not a way to get somebody to agree to do something, but it is the way to help people to understand, and I do give them freedom of making their own choice. So, this whole what types are more manipulative or less manipulative is all, well, it's basically just a bunch of nonsense. Each type has its own tools, its own framework and context through which it aims to influence the outside world with the tools that it has. The outside world, I mean the objects, including others. And so my own framework would be to say, I use my extroverted intuition along with the rationale of introverted feeling to look at perspectives and possibilities and try to present things as they are so that someone can understand the situation as it stands and make the best possible decision. Others might use, let's say, logical rationale, or show the best outcome, or just try to push people into doing what their will is. But each person would apply some sort of tactic to the situation, to the circumstances, to exercise what they believe would be the right decision. So I would give it a parting thought, which is just more amusing than anything else. But if I were, let's say, a type that works strongly behind the scenes, what better way to execute my own plans for manipulation than to try to use a distraction, to scapegoat somebody else, some other type, some other category, say, look at those people over there. You have to beware those people because they will manipulate you. They will try to pull a fast one on you. Therefore, you have to be careful about those folks. You don't have to be careful about me because I am trustworthy and I will always provide the best outcome for everybody. But beware those people over there. That's kind of a clever approach to frame the situation in a way that becomes very favorable for this particular other type in the way that it approaches a framework, if that were the case. Anyway, that's all I've got. I've got more gripes coming up, but I will save those for another time. And again, this is all getting down to the minutiae, but it is just, there's a lot of incorrectness out there, and every once in a while there's one that gets my attention enough that it seems like there's a need to respond to that incorrectness and try and provide a more correct context so that people can evaluate or at least recontextualize, if they were buying what was their hook, line, and sinker, to judge for themselves the accuracy or the versus entertainment value of that kind of categorization video. Thanks for listening and watching.